Hey everyone, thinking about intimacy, and I've had some conversations with some clients, and their original definition of intimacy is common but inaccurate. And so the common definition of intimacy is like when people think of like their intimate life, they think of their like the sweet connection or like a coziness and a closeness. And that sweet connection and closeness can result from intimacy, creating intimacy in your partnerships, but it's not a given, and it's not, in fact, what intimacy is. So some of you may have actually heard of the, I don't know what to call it, but like intimacy being described as into me I see, right? So there's this ability, if you really want to create intimacy in your partnerships. Well, let's back up and define it. So intimacy is allowing someone to see into you, right? And that means you have to be willing to see into you as well. So therein lies the rub, because here's the truth. Most people don't actually know who they are. Like, they think they know what they want. They think they know who they are and the life they want to create. They think they know that they want love and they want to love their partner. Like, we all have these good intentions. Like, these aren't bad things that I'm pointing out. It's just that there's this lack of truth telling, and that requires that you actually know how to discern what the truth is. And I mean truth with a capital T. Most people think, they say, oh, I'm going to tell the truth to my partner, and it's just a judgment. It's like, the truth is, I hate it when you do that. That is true. And like I'm interested, and what I work on with my clients is, what's the truth underneath when you have that complaint, like, I hate when you do that. Because if you're truly interested in creating intimacy because you want that result of like connection and a strong bond and like a sweetness, then it requires you revealing yourself vulnerably. And when we say the truth as just a criticism, guess what that does? The criticism puts something between you and your partner. The judgment, the make wrong, the blame. They're doing something that you wish they wouldn't do, or they would do differently, or whatever. Again, you can bring up and create boundaries, but from a deeper place of truth. And so that means, like, when you create a boundary, or you say, something isn't working for you, if you would love something to occur in this relationship, then you state it from your commitment to love, like your commitment to feel close to your partner. And I think we think that's like a given. And like, of course they know I love them, and that's why I am sharing this thing that I wish that they wouldn't do, that I hate. Like, of course my partner knows I love them. Yeah, but can they feel it? Can they feel your love in that moment when you're actually sharing with them? Like, what's true for me in this relationship is that I've noticed that, when you get home from work, I love when we have just even 5 minutes to really connect with each other, whether it's like a hug, or even if we just check in superficially over our days, but like we're really present with each other. It's more about the quality of the presence. Like, if that's what you really want, and the reason why is because you love being close to your partner, then your partner, guess what? They can hear that. They can hear, oh, like what you're saying is like, you want me. And like, when you say it like that, like, who resists that? No one resists that. But when we think we're telling the truth, when we're like, hey, when you come home and you just walk in the door and you don't look at me or whatever, I'm just coming up with a random example here. I feel really uncared for and unseen by you. And like, yes, that may be true. And like, what is your deeper commitment? Because when you share that to your partner right off the bat, that's a painful thing for someone to hear. And we're not trying to protect them from the pain. Like, we're adults, we can handle it. But can you speak from your deeper commitment, your love? Like, what do you actually want to create with your partner versus pointing out what you don't want? Can you hear the difference? And then, after you share like what you would really love to create and you can feel like your heart's open and your partner's heart is open, and they're like, oh, that feels good. You want me. Like, yeah, let me look and see how, when I walk in the door, you're right. I just noticed I just walked past you and I didn't notice you. And your partner might even say, how did that feel? I didn't even realize it until you pointed it out. And then you can share, I felt uncared for or unloved or whatever the thing is. But do you see how when you start off with like the complaint, it's not an open-hearted communication. It's like, it's really not connected to your commitment and the partnership. If you say you're committed to love and closeness, then right? So intimacy is the ability to actually know the deeper truth and to remain committed to that deeper truth and communicate from there versus communicating from the complaint, because your commitment is not to your complaint, at least I don't think. Maybe for some of you it is your commitment, and then you get to look at that. Some people really do have this deep commitment to complain because of something that it provides for them, right? Like attention, or they have no other place to get their angst out. Like, you may have a commitment to complaining. And so it really requires intimacy, requires knowing yourself and knowing the deeper things that you're committed to, and being able to really look at when you're agitated or triggered or activated by something that your partner did. And of course, I'm not speaking in toxic relationships where there's abusive behaviors. I'm not speaking to that. I'm speaking to like normal things that drive relatively healthy partners insane, or just feeling neglected or like unloved, but not in abusive dynamics. But like the example I gave, so like just really look at what your deeper commitment is and speak from there. And that's when the vulnerability gets to come through. That's when you get to say, yeah, and it did hurt. And not because you're a jerk, but because I just love you, right? So there's like a softer and more truer expression there. And I don't know if you can just feel that in your body when you just try it on in your head, like an imaginary scenario. Just feel how much softer and more open your heart is. That's what creates intimacy. And sometimes it's sharing something that your partner isn't going to want to hear. But it's not coming from like judgment or blame. It's like some harder truths might be, for example, I'm just going to make something up, but like say you really feel like you need to move, like where you're living isn't working for you. And so like a deeper truth for you is like, what's really true is the place that we're living isn't working for me. And maybe it like affects your partner's work, or like their family's nearby, or like whatever the circumstance is. So you've been avoiding telling them because you don't want to like ruffle their feathers or like get them upset or rock the boat. But the truth is that you're afraid to lose your partner if you say the truth. So that's the other place that intimacy shows up, or we avoid it, is we're afraid to say the truth that we think might cost us our partnership. But the truth is that your partnership is there's already a cost to your partnership by not telling the truth, by withholding something that's really deeply true for you. In that case, that you really need to move to a different location to thrive. And if you're withholding that from your partner, then that impacts your relationship. And is that in alignment with your deeper commitment to your relationship? Probably not. So that's where you, instead of withholding the truth, you share it. And you share it from a place of like, I'm committed to you, I'm committed to this partnership, and I'm committed to what makes me thrive. And I don't know how to reconcile these two right now. They feel like they're at odds, and I'm scared, and I don't want to lose you. Like all these things that are super vulnerable. So often telling the truth will make you sweat, like telling the truth will make you feel like you're naked, like you're actually not defended. But we can only really speak undefended when we are grounded in our truth and our ability to be with whatever the other person's response is. That's huge. So just see if you can let that land. If we can't be with the person's response because we're afraid of what it could mean for a relationship, or we don't want to rock the boat, or like we might lose somebody, or, like whatever the fear is, that's the place to look. Can I be with that? Can I hold myself through this truth and know that we are going to meet this moment and we're going to figure it out together? Or not, depending on what your partner responds with. And they actually have that choice to continue to keep meeting you wherever your extending your invitation for them to meet you. Does that make sense? So like it's this meeting each other over and over and over with what life is bringing you and what truth is bringing you, and you with an open heart. And that's what creates real intimacy, really letting someone see you and revealing yourself to them, even if it makes you look bad or if you feel scared or all those things. Because when you shy away from it, that actually costs your relationship, and that's not actually, you're not actually in a relationship in a way, right? You have something in between you and your partner. So that's how we create intimacy. And again, you should be sweating. And if you're not, you're probably withholding a little bit. So if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. I love seeing people jumping in and watching. I love seeing all of you beautiful people. If you have any thoughts or examples of truth telling that you're afraid to bring to your partner, feel free to ask me in the comments or through a direct message. I'm happy to support you in creating intimacy. And I have a free masterclass training starting next week on Monday called Hot Monogamy, the rare art of ravishment in relationships. So we're going to talk about intimacy day 1, sexual sovereignty day 2, and creating sanctuary, unconditional love, and shared agreements on day 3. So juicy topics, they're loaded topics, and they're what I'm passionate about because I'm on a mission to support couples in creating healthy marriages and really to eliminate unnecessary divorce. That's what I'm here to do. That doesn't mean that sometimes it is necessary, but I'm talking about unnecessary divorce. I think a lot of dynamics get perpetuated because people don't know how to meet them in their relationships, and they just keep repeating them over and over. And marriage is important because if we can actually rise up and create a healthy marriage, then we get to create whole, intact families, and that's how we create future generations that have intimacy, sexual sovereignty, and sanctuary, and that's how we create a better world. So I have a big mission here. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time.